ones who feel a desire to serve. Their motivation is internal. That's what this event is really designed to celebrate. A mission-driven person in a moment where they were really needed. We're going to start with public safety, because that's the core of our mission at DOJ. And that means we're going to start with Margaret Dudley. Margaret Dudley leads the Emergency Legal Services Program at Elon University. This is a program that helps people in very bad situations, often violent situations, and they help a tremendous number of people, in the thousands, and they have for years. These are people whose lives are made a lot better because Margaret and her team intervene in a way that is empathic and really effective. Help thousands of people in their worst moments. Because of her work and their work, those people are doing a lot better. Thank you, Margaret. Come on up. The very first one that I've ever given anybody. Good to see you. You got it. Last year, I visited the Forest City Police Department because they were implementing a program called the Lethality Assessment Program. This is a program that's starting to spread across the country and across the state, but is still relatively early. The purpose of the program is to train officers to help detect when someone is in a really bad, often domestic violence situation. A lot of it is in how those officers speak with the victims, specific questions asked in a specific sequence. It's an evidence-based way to determine whether someone needs a specific type of help. The reason that that program exists at the Forest City Police Department is because of Sergeant Leslie Lee. She was the catalyst, she was the driving force, and so far, it's been a big success for them, and she deserves recognition for it. Sergeant, come on. Late in 2024, Wake County Sheriff's Sergeant Juan Collado and Deputy Anthony Garcia saved a boy's life. They saw him standing on the ledge of a bridge over the Neuse River. They went over there, they engaged with this 15-year-old boy, they listened, and they stayed with him until he made the decision to step away from the ledge and to continue with his life. And if they hadn't been there in that moment, and if they hadn't been trained as they were to engage, there might have been a tragic outcome. Had the opportunity to speak with Sheriff Rowe about them in particular recently, and he could not say enough kind words about them and their service generally, but particularly what they demonstrated in this moment. Sergeant Collado, Deputy Garcia, come on. You all remember last year when Texas experienced some really terrible flooding and had some really tragic outcomes. What you don't know, probably, unless you're in the SBI, is that we have a highly specialized K-9 unit in North Carolina, housed at the SBI, not your average K-9 unit, very highly trained, and as a result, sought after by states across the country in the aftermath of disasters like this. Texas put out the call. They needed help, not just from North Carolina, but from this specific resource that we have. And SBI, the K-9 unit, stepped up. What it meant for them, we got law enforcement all around us. What it meant for them in practice was a bunch of 12-hour days. Both the agent handler for the K-9 and obviously for the K-9 themselves. performed in an extraordinary fashion. Just earned an enormous amount of recognition down in Texas. They deserve the same recognition here. So, we'd like to recognize, starting, Special Agent in charge of K-9 Unit Coordinator, John Taylor, Agent Ashley Cowan with the K-9 Vegas. Vegas is joining us. Agent Isabel Denman and K-9 Sherry, Agent Sarah Robinson and K-9 Kira, and Agent Scott Spear and K-9 Lola. Two of these K-9s are not joining us because they're in the van, which is apparently where they need to be today. So we're happy with the ones who did join us. Come on, please. Thank you all. Take care. Just worried about the SBI. Y'all saw me shaking hands over here. I knew that I had made it into the SBI cohort when it became a uniform situation. Their director, Chip Hawley, big on professionalism, and you can see it. It's a wonderful thing. Chip Hawley's been a wonderful partner for our office. Now we want to recognize a handful of folks who really dedicated their careers to public service and have made a tremendous impact. First and foremost, District Attorney Mike Waters. Mike Waters is currently the elected District Attorney for a 5-county group: Franklin, Granville, Person, Vance, and Warren. I've worked at a DA's office. I understand he is a frontline public servant for those counties and for the state. Personally, he's been a fantastic partner with our office. We've been able to do a lot of good work together. We got some ideas for other joint operations that we can do in the future. He's just been a world-class partner, but also just has an amazing reputation across the state as a true public servant. D.A. Waters. Speaking of dedicating your career to public service, Sheriff Wright became the first African-American sheriff of Cumberland County in 2017. That was after more than 3 decades in law enforcement. His entire career, he has been guided by the responsibility of keeping people safe, truly caring about his community, keeping the justice system running. He is now retired, deservedly so, and so congratulations, Sheriff Wright, on an incredibly successful career in law enforcement. Thank you. After I became AG, I went around and I met with a lot of sheriffs, I met with a lot of chiefs, and one of those early meetings was with the Asheville Police Chief, Mike Lamb. It was a long meeting. We talked about fentanyl, we talked about meth, we talked about recruitment, we talked about retention, we talked about everything under the sun. And he gave me a sense of just how big an impact a truly committed and effective police chief can make. Now, he is recently retired, also deservedly so. But before he retired, he joined me for a PT session with some police cadets in training, BLET cadets. I told my staff I wanted to do some training with them one morning. And I figured they thought, you know, the AG was coming, so we'll do some jumping jacks and call it a day. No, they broke me clean in half. And he was right there, and he smoked all of those cadets. I don't mind saying that he was probably the oldest person there because he finished the run first. It was remarkable. He's also just been an incredibly kind person to me and to my entire team, and we appreciate that. I wanted to make sure that he received this recognition. Chief. Chiefs and Rep. I lived in Raleigh recently, but for many years I lived in Charlotte. If you live in Charlotte, you know who Larry Sprinkle is. Larry Sprinkle tells you the weather, but he does it better than anybody in the business, and he does it with heart. As a result, he's become one of the most beloved people in town. Everybody knows him. Everybody trusts him. He took that job and he transformed it into a career of public service. Became a voice that as soon as people heard and a face as soon as people saw, they felt good. They felt like that was someone that they could trust. That is public service, especially in moments where there are storms or other incidents when you need a trusted voice to cut through the noise. That's what he did. He did it for years. He deserves this recognition. I'm so grateful that he made the trip. Larry Sprinkle. This next one is a little personal. I've been in the military for a while. This is my 23rd year. I have been in the National Guard for a long time. When I started in the National Guard, I started as a cadet in law school. And I reported to a captain. That captain was Captain Mike McCann. I was brand new to the unit. I was new to the National Guard. He was very kind to me. And then I watched his career grow until eventually he was promoted all the way up the ranks to become the head judge advocate for the entire North Carolina National Guard and retired at the rank of colonel. The entire time, never losing the first quality that I saw when I met with him, which was kindness. Truly the heart of a servant who has done more to serve this state than you can possibly imagine, because so much of what the National Guard does is behind the scenes and out of view. But think of the number of disasters or possible disasters that required staging of those forces and all of the work that goes into that kind of mobilization and making sure that everybody's safe, everybody's operating within the law, operating within the rules, and just the amount of sleepless nights and weekends that disappear that goes into providing that public service. The next person who's getting a Dogwood Award dedicated their entire career to you and to this state in ways that were sort of designed to be invisible because they worked all the while. Being kind to everyone, being a friend to everybody. It's an extraordinary accomplishment and incredibly deserving of this recognition and far greater recognitions than this. Everybody, this is Colonel Mike McCann. So I don't know what everybody here did when they were young on spring break. I have some ideas. But there are 8 law students here at UNC Law School and working with North Carolina Legal Aid. They went out to Western North Carolina and they used their spring break to help people. They did it in a number of ways, helping people deal with insurance companies, no small thing, applying for FEMA programs, also no small thing, getting things in line to rebuild. If that's what you're doing while you are also in law school, I can't wait to see what they're going to do later in their careers. So congratulations to Megan Moore, the director of UNC Law's Pro Bono Initiatives, and Mia Larkin, Rachel Vendersook, Eli Alexander, Mrs. Haddock, Nevea, Andrew Parco, Mandy Miracle, Tyson Moy, and Miranda Pappas. Thank you all very much. Come on. You are all familiar with the toll that the fentanyl crisis has taken across the state, across the country. Remains the leading cause of death in North Carolina for people my age and younger. Deservedly is a top priority for our work at NCDOJ. Dr. Dasgupta at UNC runs several projects that are designed to help us learn more about what is in the drugs that are being trafficked and the most effective way to save people's lives. He has been a resource for our office. He's been a personal resource for me. I've met with him and spoken at length to get the evidence-based, latest cutting-edge research on everything we need to know to respond effectively, but has also established a national reputation as one of the go-to people and one of the most credible voices in the space when it comes to the fentanyl epidemic. I'm grateful for him and his entire team. Dr. Dasgupta. So like 3 weeks ago, I ran into the governor, and this list was complete. And he told me, or he asked, rather, he said, hey, you can do the Dogwoods coming up. I said, yeah. He says, your list done? I said, yeah. He said, it's final. I said, it's final. Yeah. He goes, good, I got 2 names for you. He had just been to Clay County. And he said, I met some extraordinary people there, and they deserve this recognition. So we checked it out, and we agreed. Dr. Travis Williams has helped to build a really effective addiction treatment program in Clay County. He did it in a part of the state that doesn't always get the resources and attention that it needs. He has stepped up in a way that has gotten a lot of people to take note. And that was through persistence, hard work, and being able to pull together a really effective team. Dr. Williams, thank you for being here and thank you for your work. Stacy Ledford, also a Governor Stein recommendee, runs the Rock Bottom Recovery out of Hayesville. I was shaking hands, and I shook hands with Jason, in fact. And I said, I heard, is it true? I heard that Stacy put her cell phone number on Facebook and said, anybody who needs help can call me. And he said, yeah, it's true, and her phone rings all the time. I've got other things that I can tell you about Stacy and the work that she's done, but to me, that encapsulates all of it. If you're willing to put your personal cell phone number on social media and say, call me if you need help, and then you answer every single call, you not only deserve this award, you deserve a lot more, and the thanks of a grateful state. Stacy, come on. One of the authorities vested in the Office of Attorney General is to authorize wiretaps. Wiretaps weren't something that our state had for a long time, and then several years ago, we created that authority and that program, and a lot of the legal sign-off is done at the AG office. But our partner in this, our law enforcement partner, is the SBI, the State Bureau of Investigation. And we lean on them heavily. Those folks who conduct that work are instrumental. Some of the most important law enforcement operations that we conduct as a state originate through and facilitated by those wiretap operations. Again, obviously not the type of stuff that you're seeing and hearing about every day. It's behind the scenes work, but the downstream consequences for public safety and keeping guns and drugs off the street are enormous. Let me give you a sense. Since 2022, they have partnered with us on 232 wiretap cases that has resulted in the seizure of more than 144 kilograms of fentanyl, 450 kilograms of meth, 1,000 kilograms of cocaine, 150 guns, and over $12 million in cash and assets. And led to the arrest of over 200 folks who were doing the trafficking. 2 people at the SBI who have done an enormous share of this work are agents Brian Fleming and John Lee. I'm grateful for them. We should all be grateful for them. Come on. You see what I mean about the uniform, right? If you follow news from NCDOJ, you know that we are often talking about scams and how to prevent them. It's just a big part of our law enforcement and public safety portfolio is trying to be a shield for you, and often for vulnerable people, often for senior citizens, against those who are trying to get into your wallet, get into your bank account. Our main ally in the state legislature at finding ways to tighten the grip on people who are coming after your money has absolutely, without question, been Representative Dudley Green. He is the former sheriff in McDowell County, so he has a public service perspective on what these scams can do and the amount of damage they can do. His home was also destroyed by Hurricane Helene. He's been a leader in the effort to help his county, his district, rebuild. But he's also just been really engaged on all of the public safety issues that we have brought him, and as a result, we've been able to do some really important things. Again, not stuff that's necessarily going to hit the paper every day, but stuff that gives us new tools to go after people who mean you harm. We're actively trying to find ways to get into your bank account. He has been one of the most effective leaders in this space to help be a shield against those folks. He's also been very kind to me personally. I appreciate that too. Representative Britton. For this next one, I need to give you a little bit of context that some of you know, some of you don't. In the last 18 months, Bitcoin ATMs, or Bitcoin kiosks, have spread across the state, they've spread across the country. Basically in the worst gas stations that you can imagine. And if you pull out your phone on the way out, and you pull up your Google Maps or your Apple Maps, and you type in Bitcoin ATM, you will be amazed at the number of red dots that pop up all around your location. And there are all kinds of issues here. These Bitcoin ATMs have now become the back half of a lot of robocall fraud, where the new protocol is to get an elderly person on the phone and don't let them off the phone until you basically walk them in to one of these gas stations with one of these Bitcoin ATMs and have them transfer their entire life savings. The average take from a senior in one of these scams is over $100,000. That's average. So it's a major problem. We needed to try and combat it. One of the ways that we wanted to do that was by putting up warnings next to all of these machines that are very candid along the lines of, hey, are you on the phone with a stranger right now who wants you to empty your life savings into this machine? Don't do that. Stuff like that. But we needed law enforcement partners to help us to get that message out and do that work. Detective Brian Willisgrove from the Viewpoint Arena Police Department has been one of our champions in this space. Just done a ton of work, and we think he's going to protect a lot of people. Thank you for being here, and you deserve recognition. And he just was kind enough to give me a coin. My daughter, Avery, 7, she's the keeper of coins in our house. Any law enforcement here who would like me to give her a coin, you give it to me, I give it to her. She's got them all in a book. She lets her older brother look at the coins. He's not allowed to touch them. All right, these next few folks are really about community service, broad impact. We intersected with respect to some lawsuits that we were engaged in last year. One dealt with education funding. And when we were looking at the ways that this lawsuit could impact real people in the state, we learned about the Dream Center Academy in Gastonia. The Dream Center Academy in Gastonia is an extremely well-regarded institution. They help middle school and high school students with academics, but also professional skills, and they have just established a tremendous track record, 100% graduation rate, tremendous track record. And when we went to visit, it was like the entire community showed up and said, you don't understand, this place is a gem. The return on investment for our community in this place is just staggering. We have to protect it. We were able to do that. We were able to prevail in that litigation. And we felt that they just deserved this recognition for being just such a long-standing resource for the community. So, accepting recognition on behalf of the Dream Center is Executive Director Roxanne James. Similar story in that we were engaged in litigation for a food security program, a major food security program, and we were looking for ways that it was going to impact real people in our state. And we learned about Mother Hubbard's Cupboard. Mother Hubbard's Cupboard is in Wilmington. It is a food bank. It is an institution. That is putting it lightly. It is extremely well known. Everybody in Wilmington knows about Mother Hubbard's Cupboard, and in moments of food crisis, they go from crucial to something more than crucial, to indispensable. And when I went and visited them, they were slammed. And the numbers that they gave me about the amount of people, the amount of demand that they were facing, the number of families that they were serving, was incredible. Every time there is some crisis, weather-related, otherwise, they see a huge surge. Their volunteers have to come together. Their leader has to lead them through it. We have another Roxanne, back-to-back Roxannes. Roxanne Lansdowne is the executive director. I met her when I went to go see the operation. And it was remarkable because it was clear that she was carrying a lot of this place on her back. And all she would do was praise her team and her volunteers. She's clearly just seen her purpose in life is through this organization. When you meet somebody like that, it stays with you. So when we were putting this list together, she was a round 1 draft pick for us. And interestingly, there was a news story last night that ran in Wilmington about her getting this award. When I saw her coming into this event, I said, hey, good news last night. She said, well, I didn't see it. I was at work. We faced huge demand this week. I'm too busy to watch news stories about myself going to Raleigh and getting this award, which I think in and of itself speaks volumes. Thank you, Roxanne. Come on up. Speaking of food banks and food security, L. Ron Pringle is the president and CEO of the Interfaith Food Shuttle. If y'all live anywhere around you, you know about the Interfaith Food Shuttle. I had a chance to stop by and volunteer a couple of times last year. The scope of that operation is amazing. The impact, when they tell you the numbers, how many families, how many children they feed just on a monthly basis, it's amazing. It's really sort of a part of life and a part of our communities that don't often get that level of visibility and attention. It's just staggering, the amount of need that there is, especially when times get tough. We had a moment when SNAP benefits were really on the brink, resulted in a huge surge in demand, and he and his team stepped up and deserved this recognition and more. Mr. Kramer, come on. Last one. This is a little unique, because you can see we have a ton of people in line. I don't need the notes. So here's what happened. We were involved in this lawsuit for this food program, and we got a court order that said, okay, the money can keep flowing so that these people won't go hungry. They'll have food. But the conditions under which people will be eligible for money, the amount of money that's allowed to go, that's going to change, sort of on the fly. In North Carolina, this program is administered by DHHS. And unfortunately, complying with this court order was not simply a matter of flipping a switch. It wasn't as if, oh, it was off, but now it's back on. In order to flip that switch back on, a ton of logistical work had to be done. A ton of coding had to be done. And we're talking about coding state computer software. You know, some of it was written like MS-DOS era. And it took every hour of the day, day after day, so that we didn't have a genuine food crisis. 40,000 babies in North Carolina get these benefits. 600,000 children get these benefits. And they wouldn't have. That would have stopped, and food would have not been on the table if it weren't for these people in this line right here. That is awesome. Thank you all. You deserve more than this recognition. It's the most that I can do to say we're grateful for you. Now come on up. Everybody pay attention. This is great. It's like a one-page court order, and this is what it took to comply with it. And the result was we avoided a catastrophe. And man, we're grateful. Amber, why don't you stand up like right there? See if we can, I don't want anybody not in the photo.
We can do another round. Yeah.
All right. Oh, all of our recipients? Okay.
Can we ask that?
All recipients, we're going to do a big group photo. We'll put the dogs in front. That's what people really want. Everybody in Wilmington knows about Mother Hubbard's Cupboard, and in moments of food crisis, they go from crucial to something more than crucial, to indispensable. And when I went and visited them, they were slammed. And the numbers that they gave me about the amount of people, the amount of demand